Hello, I'm Chad Habel, if you haven't met me in any of the other introductory videos or in person yet. And this video is to welcome you to Fundamentals of Leadership in the Adelaide MBA. In particular, this one is to introduce you to MyUni in this course and how we use MyUni. And assuming that this is the first time you've used MyUni at the University of Adelaide, it will give you a bit of an introduction to how some important notification settings, but also how it works in this course, how to access your weekly materials, how to submit assignments, things like that. Now, I should stress that the course is still somewhat under construction, so I am still adding things and updating things here and there, and it is a live course. It is a live document, so if people say, oh, this isn't clear, that isn't clear, then I might update some things. So nothing here is set in stone, but it's at a state at the moment that you can have a look at it and see and get most of what you need for the first few weeks of the course anyway. So let me show you the course itself. Once you log into MyUni, you'll probably come to this screen or maybe your courses screen. Anyway, this is the Fundamentals of Leadership course homepage. Now, the first thing I want to show you is how to adjust your notifications in this course or using MyUni. So what you would do is you would go to Account, you would go to Notifications. One of the great things about Canvas in MyUni is that you can adjust your notifications preferences with a lot of detail, right? So you can see that you can add your mobile number, you can add different email addresses, and get notifications to lots of different places. And this is a bit like a social media notification preference setting, I guess. So you can really, for example, due dates, assignment due dates, grading, submissions, discussion boards, conversations, scheduling, groups, all of these things, you can decide whether or not to get notifications on them at all. And you can decide whether to get, I think we have different styles of notification here. For mobile, it's just yes or no. For here, it's a weekly notification, it's instant notifications, or you can just have them switched off. So if you find yourself getting too many annoying notifications from MyUni, then go into this, this tool here and switch some things on and switch some things off. I do ask you to make sure that your announcements are on, okay? Because when I announce something to the whole course, that might very well be an important thing about assignments or due dates or a class coming up or something like that, and that'll be my main way of communicating to the whole course. Will be via announcements in MyUni. So make sure you have all your notifications for announcements switched on to every source so that you get them to all your emails, all your mobile and things like that. I'll try not to do too many so I'm not spamming you, but those announcement notifications are quite important. Otherwise, just manage your notifications however you like. You then go to courses and select the course that will be that you want to go to, Fundamentals of Leadership Trimester 3. And this is what the course looks like. I will publish this, so it will become published and you'll be able to see it. The home page looks like this, a brief introduction here like that, and then what you should do is when there are announcements, you'll be able to go there for announcements. And the modules is the main thing. Modules are like the weekly headings. So I chunk things down into, the first intensive and then the weeks like this. So you can see there's a drop down box here to make it easy. So if you've got too many of these open, you can clean it up that way. And here are your main headings. You won't be able to see some of these because they're not available to you yet. So it may look a little bit different to precisely what you're seeing. Course information is about this course. Course contacts, so contact details and some introduction to me and Lois, for example, and you click on one of these to open up that page. You'll see here, I'm a bit of a fan of doing videos, so this one introduces me and my experience of this course and what the course is about, and it's kind of like, instead of standing in front of you for 15 minutes and introducing myself, I've created this video. Now, when you go to content, it'll take you to all these different navigation panes down here. So the key thing to do is to just go back to modules. If you get lost, go back to modules or home and you'll come back to this and you'll be reoriented. So you've got the course outline and there's a discussion forum. Okay, so a general course discussion forum. Now if you click on that, you'll see I've created a discussion forum. that is just general course discussion forum. Okay, general questions, anything you need to know, things you're unsure of, put them in here. Okay, so that's what we have there. So there's your general course information. There's then a tab for readings. So I have a video here which is an introduction to the readings, the 2 textbooks and why we've got them and a brief overview of them. There's a full reading list here which isn't quite available yet. The library hasn't made it available yet. And then there's one reading that I wasn't able to include in the folder. So all of your readings, apart from the 2 textbooks, should be available in your folder. But this one I couldn't get my hands on until before the folder was due for printing. So there's a PDF version of it here and a link further down in the relevant week. So that's your readings. We then have the opening intensive. So this is coming up in September, second weekend of September, I think. And if you click on this, you'll get a bit of an idea of what the weekly content or what the modules look like. So if you click on opening intensive, it'll give you a brief introduction to it. What to expect in the intensive, what we're going to look at, things like that. So every week has a bit of content in there about that. It'll be kind of like, what are we going to be looking at and why is it important? That's the kind of format I'm using. Just a couple of sentences to begin to introduce you there. And you'll see that the way I've designed it is that you start with the introduction and then you should be able to just work through these tabs. Right, so you should be able to just, these are all the important things you'll need to do, and there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can go from this page and just click through the tabs, or you can, for example, start at the module description and then go next. So for example, you'll see next, we have a pre-course video. Here's a video I'd like you to watch before the beginning of the course, and we'll discuss it a little bit in class in the first intensive, but this is just a video to get you thinking and get you considering some of the important aspects of the course. You then click and we then have the readings for the intensive. So once you've done the video, I want you to do the readings. Now this looks like quite a lot, and it kind of is, but it's because the intensive is 2 days long, right? It's quite a substantial bit of study, and there's a fair bit of reading to do to get up to speed. Now, if you don't quite have time, try and scan them, do the best that you can. You'll see these readings also include the core text. So for example, this one here is the first textbook and part 1 of the first textbook here, and then this one is chapter 2 of the second textbook, and then a couple of other readings there. So I'd like you to try and do the readings for each week or each intensive. So there's a fair bit of work to do before that first intensive. Just do the best you can and get as many readings under your belt as you can for that. You would then possibly click, if I can get to it, you would click next, but I can't do it because my face is in the way. So what I'll do is I'll go back to modules. We have week 1, we've had a look at readings, you then have pre-course activities. So at the moment, I just have one, and this is introduce yourself. It's a discussion forum. So you go in there, and it's a discussion forum designed for you to introduce yourself to your colleagues in FoL. So I'd like you to go in here, have a look at what it says, create a new thread perhaps, or write a reply, whatever you like. There is a record upload media tool, so you might like to write a reply and then use this tool here if you want to create a quick video like I do. That's fine. You don't have to do that, and you can just type in text like that if you like as well. So that's the other thing I want you to do before the first intensive. Just a quick introduction. Who are you? Where are you from? What are you hoping to get out of the course? Why are you here? That sort of stuff. We then have an assignment. So this is your first assignment. It's an individual case study. So there's 2 ways of getting to your assignments, either in roughly the relevant week here, or you can go to the assignments tab here. So if you go to the assignments tab here, you'll see all of the assignments for the course are here. It looks like a lot, but it's not. Some of them are quite short. And they are all here. Now you do submit your assignments on MyUni as well. That's an important thing to note. So what you would do is you'll see here, the description is that it's due before the opening intensive. So it's actually due on the 5th of September. So I've got a couple of days to read it before you get there. And here's a description of how you, of your first assignment, the individual case study. Okay. You'll then load the individual case study in a new window. It goes to a tool called Turnitin. That's another whole topic of discussion, and you'll go here, and this is where you submit your assignments. It's a little bit different for me here because this is the instructor view, but you'll have a Dropbox here that you submit to. So go back to modules. Key thing to remember, another thing I really want you to do is submit this individual case study before the 5th of September. If you can get it in before then, even better. But that's the main thing there. Each week also has study support videos. So these are videos that I've designed and recorded, which are often quite technical in nature, but designed to be helpful if you're quite new coming back to university, or a little bit not quite sure of what to do in some areas. So if you click on that, you'll see for this week, there's a couple here about reflective writing, for example. So reflective writing is a style of writing we want you to do for the first assignment here, and then in some subsequent writing later on. So you can have a watch of this and get a bit of an idea of that. Go back to modules, and so that's all of the content for the first week. Key things to remember there are: do as many readings as you can. Make sure you've got your textbooks and try and get through as much of them as possible. Have a look at the introduction videos like this one that I've brought in. And then crucially, do this individual case study. Now, you'll notice this individual case study isn't actually worth any marks. So it's what we call a formative assignment. I didn't really want to put too much pressure on you to straight away and give you something worth marks, because people freak out a little bit about that. But I will be giving substantial feedback, and that feedback will really help you in subsequent assignments, the case consultations, for which there will be marks. So that's the beginning of a conversation between us, a kind of feedback conversation. Now you may think, oh, it's not worth marks, I don't really have to hand it up. That's true. You don't have to hand it up if you don't want to. If you're doing that, I would say have a bit of a think about why that's not a huge priority to you. Are marks the only reason that you're doing this course? Things like that. And do you value the kind of feedback that you get from me and your other peers? And that might be something to think about for the rest of the course. But I can assure you that your feedback on that case consultation will be, on this individual case study, will be very useful for you. Later on, you'll have grades. Okay, so you'll be able to go there for your grades. You can look at people. This is a good way to be able to contact through the system people in the course. There's course readings here. We may not be using that tab because it's in the main tabs there. Oh yes, we do have them here. Okay, here's your readings, links there. So lots of different ways to get to your readings other than the folder. And that's basically it. It's a very quick, brief introduction to MyUni for Fundamentals of Leadership. That's just a whistle-stop tour. So really the thing to do is to get in there, start using it, start doing some discussions, test some things out, and get used to the environment, because we'll be using it quite a lot in the course, also through your group work, for assignment submission, for feedback, and all of that sort of thing. So that's hopefully been a useful introduction to MyUni in the course for you, and I look forward to seeing you in the first intensive and for the rest of the course. Don't forget, feel free to ask me any questions via email or via the inbox in MyUni. I'll respond either way, and look forward to meeting you when the course starts officially. Thanks very much.